to take up farming as a viable additional income source.
National Best Farmer 2025 is an 82-year-old man from Kweu Afram Plains South District. He's been farming for 44 years. He has 1,000 acres of cocoa, 293 acres of mango, 30 acres of cashew, and so many more. It's from the eastern region, and we'll be getting today 1.2 million Ghana cedis. 1.2 million Ghana cedis, I think it's one.
Will boost productivity, strengthen food security, and attract more young people into the agricultural sector. Speaking for the first National Farmers' Day celebrations in Ho, the president reaffirmed his administration's commitment to supporting farmers through policies aimed at reducing production costs, expanding irrigation and mechanization, improving market access, and modernizing the agricultural value chain.
One of our prime objectives is how to get credit to our farmers at the best possible rate. Credit for agriculture must be at single-digit interest rates. And so this government is going to work to bring that interest rate below 10% so that farmers can have access to cheap credit to be able to produce more for us. Feed ourselves. Our food import bill of about 3 billion is still too high. And so we need to grow more food for ourselves. And we can only do this if we provide a market for our farmers. It is unacceptable that suppliers of the school feeding program buy rice from Vietnam to feed our school children, when Ghanaian farmers are sitting with rice inventories from last year. And that's why I gave the recent directive that for rice, for maize, for poultry, we must ensure that at least these 3 products that we use in our school feeding program, these are procured locally from our local farmers.
Now, still on Farmers' Day, the West Municipal Assembly has marked this year's Farmers' Day celebration with a renewed call for agricultural self-reliance and stronger support systems for farmers across the municipality. The municipal chief executive, Desmond Soa, urged the government for a reconsideration of incentives traditionally offered to farmers during Farmers' Day celebrations.
Addressing the gathering, Municipal Chief Executive Desmond Sowanai highlighted the pivotal role farmers continue to play in national development. He reaffirmed the government's commitment to strengthening the agricultural value chain through practical community-level interventions. The MC drew attention to President Mahama's newly introduced poultry initiative, GHOne, announcing that 10,000 birds have been allocated to farmers in Ghana West, noting that beneficiaries must form groups of at least 5 to participate effectively.
They can come together as partnership. No means we not say uncle say the could be in 50. There's a 10, but 50 times 10, 500 beds. Now to be year, I think in the next future no. Any idea you be
He also urged the reconsideration of the incentives traditionally offered to farmers during Farmers' Day celebrations, calling for more impactful and dignifying rewards that truly reflect the value of farmers' contributions.
So, Biba, that's the best overall best farmer. Me, I'm on the TV, fridge, and I say, Bibi, this time I'm going to brief from the budget. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, no, we're not going to do this. The reset agenda is all spheres and areas. Young Bibi deserving to appreciate them. Because we are no more bibina, I don't know the man the mood do.
The celebration concluded with Ahiase Jacob being named overall best farmer for Gaglo municipality, honored for his dedication, innovation, and consistent commitment to farming.
Now, government says it is working to secure investment to fully operationalize the Jamestown Fishing Harbour, with plans to add a modern fish processing plant. This was disclosed by the Member of Parliament for the Ododo constituency, Alfred Nikote-Ashi, at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly celebration of Farmers' Day. He acknowledged the many challenges facing fishers and assured them of government support.
Ghana marked the 41st National Farmers' Day under the theme, Feed Ghana, Eat Ghana, Secure the Future, a call to promote local produce and strengthen food security. Ododo MP Alfred Nikote-Ashi revealed plans to procure a new fish processing plant for the Jamestown Harbour.
To fully operationalize the harbour, the Jamestown Harbour, and expand its operational integrity by introducing fabricated boats for fishing efficiency while adding a mini fish processing plant.
The Mayor of Accra, Michael Nikpakpo Alote, also announced the creation of a farmers fund aimed at attracting more young people into agriculture.
So I'm calling on the youths, because we cannot sit down and say we don't have jobs. There are a lot of jobs. You can see Accra Academy has so much food.
The AMA overall best farmer for 2025, 62-year-old Bernard Safo Asamoah, encouraged households to turn their concrete spaces into backyard farms to address flooding and food security concerns.
At first, when you build, the land around your building swallows water. We plant flowers, they swallows water. So I would advise people to stop putting this floor concrete and tiles in their compound for them to plant food. So maybe okra, pepper, this thing, everything that you put on the land, it will be helpful for you.
Other awardees included Best Female Farmer, Faustina Solana, AME Zion A Basic Junior High School, Accra Academy, among others.
Now, the Municipal Chief Executive for the Ayawaso East Municipality, Abdul Ganiu Ibrahim, is encouraging residents to adopt backyard farming as a practical step towards improving food security and strengthening community resilience. He made the call during the commemoration of the National Farmers' Day celebration in the municipality.
Ayawaso East MCE noted that the perception that agriculture is reserved for village folks is outdated, stressing that such mindsets prevent many urban households from tapping into the economic and nutritional benefits of home-based farming.
Even though we are urban area, we are able to support our farmers with whatever they need in terms of resources or any chemicals to grow their backyard garden, which the assembly is supporting. The challenge we have in Ayawaso is we don't have any reverse land for farming.
Meanwhile, Percy Akakia was adjudged the overall best farmer for the constituency. He told GHOne News that animal rearing presents an increasingly viable opportunity due to its rising demand and significant economic returns.
Farmers at Ayawaso East, they should do well to plant crops, ready of animals and those things, because you let even for if you are poor and you know how to rear, you will not be poor again. Because anytime if you are in need of money, that's what you are going to get money for.
Let's head to the northern part of the country, as farmers in Binduri district were absent from this year's Farmers' Day celebration due to a government-imposed ban on motorbike riding in the area. The restrictions introduced to address security concerns made it difficult for farmers to travel to the venue.
According to the NDC constituency women's organizer Judith Anaba and the Queen Mother of Gogo, Apam Theresa, the ban on motorbike in the constituency has created significant hardship. They stress that many farmers cannot walk the long distance required to participate in the event. Binduri, which was expected to record a high turnout, instead witnessed a complete boycott by farmers protesting both the motorcycle ban and the 5 p.m. curfew. District Chief Executive Ariku Martin Akudugu assured residents that peace would soon return.
Let me take this opportunity to congratulate all award winners and urge them to aspire for regional and national awards.
Meanwhile, the Ghana National Association of Farmers and Fishermen in Binduri are appealing to government to include them in agricultural flagship programs.
The Binduri farmer is not a spectator. In this national journey, we are the foundation of it. We have heard of government's commitment through the programs rolled out and the allocations of resources to strengthen food security, expand agro-industrial value chains, and support modern agriculture. For this effort, we say thank you. But today, we make a humble call. Let these commitments move beyond Accra. Let them reach our fields.
While Binduri saw low participation, Boko recorded a massive turnout, attracting farmers, traditional leaders, and government officials. Boko Municipal Chief Executive Azunaba Isaac urged the youth to prioritize peace, stressing its importance for development.
Agricultural development can occur without peace, unity, and social cohesion. As we celebrate today, I want to make a personal appeal to all residents of Boko. Let's give peace a chance.
In Pusiga, District Chief Executive Agurugu Haruna highlighted major challenges confronting farmers, including inadequate irrigation facilities, poor road networks, and limited market access.
Including lack of access of input, climate change, limited access to modern technology, and market fluctuations. However, with government support and private sector investment, we can transform our agriculture sector, creating jobs and stimulating economic growth.
Additionally, 5 districts in the Upper East region, Bulsa South, Bongo, Kassina Nankana Municipal, Timpani, and Talenti are set to benefit from the nationwide distribution of 4,400 modern agricultural machines under the Farmer Service Centers initiative.
To grow our local economy, strengthen the city, and create employment for our youth, then we must consciously choose Ghana rice over imported rice.
The boycott by farmers in Binduri underscores the broader challenges facing rural communities.
Let's still remain on agriculture, as the General Agriculture Workers Union has warned that Farmers' Day risks becoming meaningless unless government establishes a permanent Ghana Agriculture Service to drive long-term agricultural development. In a statement marking the 2025 Farmers' Day celebration, GHOne praised farmers for their resilience but said the sector continues to struggle with inadequate extension services, policy inconsistencies, and weak institutional support. The union described the current farmer to extension officer ratio of 1 to 1,500 as unacceptable and called on government to recruit more agricultural graduates to strengthen the field. GHOne is also demanding urgent recapitalization of Cocoa Board, warning that its debts challenges threaten its sustainability of cocoa sector. Let's remain on this a while and speak to the Deputy Executive Director of, Deputy Executive Director of GHOne, Dr. Pascal Ajom-Bakaba, via phone. Good evening and welcome to News Tonight.
Good evening.
Let me find out from you. Yesterday, the President made a call for affordable credits to be given to farmers. From where you sit in GHOne, do you think that access to credits remains the biggest challenge for farmers?
It's one of the challenges to farm, not necessarily the biggest, but it's one of the biggest. Because when you look at a bank like Agricultural Development Bank was established for the purpose of extending credit facilities to the agriculture sector. Unfortunately, because of the risk elements associated with agriculture, this bank does not have, it's going into more of commercial loans, unlike giving credit to farmers. And so it's making it difficult for farmers to access loans at competitive rates. They are being given loans at commercial rates like people who are in business. But agriculture is more risk substantive, and then also the sector is such that for us to be able to, because of how long it takes before you get your produce, if we want to go into commercial loans with them, it makes it difficult for them. And so that is why it is very urgent for us to get low interest rate loans within that sector.
All right.
If we want to really boost the sector.
Right. Dr. Kaba, I want to find out from you, from GHOne, what will be your top 3 priorities when it comes to government intervention for farmers?
The first one, as we kept in our press release, is for the urgent establishment of the Ghana Agriculture Service. Because when it comes to policy formulation, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture is sending out a lot of good policies. However, the people to drive those policy interventions are not there. And so no matter how brilliant your ideas are, and no matter whatever you are doing, if people are not there to push that agenda of yours, the agenda will not be achieved. And so, because of that disconnect in terms of policy formulation and policy implementation, there's an urgent step for government to establish a Ghana Agriculture Service. And we say this because if you come to the district level and the regional level, we don't have what is the name? We don't have the Ministry of Agriculture at the district level. At the district level, the people who take care of agriculture are called the Department of Agriculture, who unfortunately belong to a different ministry. So you can imagine a different ministry doing policies and a different ministry having to do the implementation.
Right.
They are at the district level and the regional level belong to the Ministry of Local Government. They are not Ministry of Agriculture staff.
All right. Let me find out from you. You know, each and every year, Farmers' Day is celebrated. What do you think has been the defect with the celebration of Farmers' Day, and what will be your proposal moving forward?
Yes. Well, each year Farmers' Day is celebrated. We gather to celebrate the hard work of farmers. However, what will happen is, why we are saying that without the Ghana Agriculture Service being established, the day really be meaningless is the fact that a point comes where, based on that disconnect, the people who are supposed to move the agenda towards celebrating the Farmers' Day will not be there to move the agenda. And so Farmers' Day will no longer exist.
Right.
Until that structure is put in place.
Right. I want to thank you very much for your time. Dr. Kaba is a Deputy General Secretary for GHOne. But away from that, global leaders, business executives, and influential figures from across the world have converged in Doha, Qatar, for the opening of the Doha Forum 2025. The event features high-profile speakers, including His Highness, the Emir of Qatar, President John Dramani Mahama, Bill Gates, European Commission Vice President Kaja Kallas, Hillary Clinton, and several other global renowned experts. This year's forum is themed Justice and Action Beyond Promises to Progress, setting the tone for critical discussions on economic empowerment, sustainable development, and inclusive prosperity. President Mahama is expected to address the topic of economic empowerment in Africa, pathways to inclusive prosperity, where he will outline strategies to accelerate growth and development across the continent. My colleague Natalie Ford is in Doha with the team, and we can engage her briefly. Good evening, Natalie, and welcome to News Tonight. Let me find out from you what really is the center, the theme for this forum. Natalie, can you unmute for us? We can hardly hear you. Can you unmute for us? Right. So I was asking what is the theme for the forum in Doha? Natalie, we can still not hear you. We can still not hear you, Natalie. All right, so we will come back to my colleague Natalie Ford shortly, who is in Doha with world leaders for the 2025 Doha Forum. Natalie, can you hear me? Hello, Natalie, can you hear me? All right, we will come back to my colleague Natalie Ford, who is in Doha for that forum. But away from that, President John Dramani Mahama has noted that although the National Signals Bureau is relatively a young institution within the national security architecture, it has rapidly evolved into a technologically agile and notion-focused agency. Speaking at the inauguration of the Volta Regional Command of the NSB at Ho, President John Dramani Mahama said expanding the footprint of the NSB across the country aligns perfectly with government's vision of enhancing intelligence and surveillance, among others. Volta Regional Correspondent Benjamin McAfee-Atipo reports.
The inauguration of the Volta Regional Command of the National Signals Bureau, NSB, at Ho forms part of government's efforts to decentralize the national security architecture of the country. It is the second of the 4 commands being built across the country this year. It aims to strengthen frontline intelligence, early warning systems, and rapid response to all threats that fall within the country's territorial space. The NSB command will function as a regional hub for real-time intelligence, signals intersection, and cyber surveillance, thereby promoting the region's role in the emerging 24-hour economy, which is the brainchild of the president. The Minister of Interior, Muntaka Mohammed Mubarak, had a strong warning for citizens who are using online technology and other means to perpetrate cybercrime and also create panic and fear in the society.
You have to stop or we'll come after you. Now we have what it takes to track you, to observe what you are doing, to trace you wherever you are hiding.
President John Mahama noted that the importance of the facility cannot be overemphasized.
Its expanding footprint at the regional and district levels align perfectly with government's commitment to enhancing local level intelligence, strengthening community security, and modernizing national surveillance capacity.
He used the occasion to advise the general public to stay away from recent adverts on social media about him purporting to be giving out grants to all manner of persons upon the payment of a registration fee.
You see on your mobile phones that John Mahama has launched a free grant, and so you should apply. And I'm giving 5,000 Ghana cedis each, and so you pay a small registration fee. Don't ever be caught in that trap. They're all scammers.
President Mahama announced that an NSB Intelligence Training Center would be established on 100-acre land at Hohwe, adding that such an academy would inure to the benefit not only of Ghanaians, but also ECOWAS and allied African countries, as well as global partners. Benjamin McAfee-Atipo, GHOne News, Ho.
You are still watching News Tonight here on GHOne Television. My name is Obed Gaglo. Let's do some more stories. As the Progressive Alliance of Ghana is demanding a complete overhaul of Ghana's proposal of lithium agreements, describing the current ownership structure as exploitative and detrimental to national interests. The alliance has criticized both the New Patriotic Party and the NDC for what it calls a long-standing pattern of allowing foreign companies to dominate the country's natural resources. Leader of the alliance, Dr. John Pipi, insists Ghana must rather begin negotiations from a position where the state holds 85% of the natural rights and private players taking 15%, arguing that this would ensure fair benefits for citizens. Dr. John Pipi joins me in studio for the latest developments on this. Good evening and welcome to News Tonight.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Right. So let's zoom in straight. Yes. Now, this week, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources held a press conference and said that they are varying the LI for natural resources royalties, not only lithium. He says that they are now proposing a scaling mechanism where the royalties will be determined depending on the prices of the minerals. Will this not be a fair deal for Ghana?
Absolutely not. I think the whole question of royalties they're discussing now, I'll consider it red herrings. In other words, they are distractions from the real issue that we must confront in the natural resource space. For example, talking about 5% or 10%, I think that these are the fringes of the big issues we need to discuss. And we need to get into the meat of the agreement. And for me, as a party, what we are advocating for is that we shouldn't even have a context. We shouldn't have a situation where the companies are paying us royalties, whether it is 5 or 10 or even 15%. No. The resources in the ground belong to Ghana, belong to the 35 million Ghanaians. It's ours. So there's no way somebody can come in, walk into our country and said he's exploiting it and giving us 5% royalties. That is actually an anathema.
Right. You say that that will be detrimental to the citizens of Ghana.
Yes.
What's your proposal?
Well, we've got a number of proposals, but we need to step back a bit and back to the foundational issue of the ownership. It's owned by us, all the resources in this country. And so we start from there. And the first proposal is this. Ghana comes to the negotiating table not with empty hands, as we've been doing. Up to date, this is what happens. Ghana arrives at the table with foreign investors who say they are bringing 200 million to invest. And Ghana says, I'm sorry, I have got zero. So can we talk about it? Then
but that's the reality.
No, it's
that's
not.
The reality.
It's not. That's what I'm going to tell you now.
Right.
It's not the reality. It's actually a lie. It's a distorted reality.
Right.
The truth is this. All the natural resources in the ground, we should compute it to become an equity value for us. So if we got 90 billion, if we got $100 billion worth of lithium in the ground, right? I don't think we've got something like between 5 and 6 billion in the ground. It's worth that. Then Ghana should compute all that as our equity and arrive at the negotiating table saying, we've got $5.6 billion here. How much are you bringing?
Right.
Now, that's the truth. And if the guy says, I've got 200 million, I've got 100, he got 10 billion, so he's got whatever, then he ends up with something like 10%. Because all the resources are ours. It's been organized into equity. And so let's just use some figures that help us. If it's worth 100 billion and the guy brings 10 billion, then he gets 10% and we get 90% of the negotiation to start with. And I think that is the realistic place to start.
Right.
And when we do that, then we are in pole position. And in fact, rightly so, all the money that we make, 90% will come to us instead of what we are getting now.
Right.
So that's one suggestion.
Right. I want to thank you very much for your time. We'll have an extended conversation on this matter so that you tell us overall what will be the overarching benefits for citizens in terms of even mineral royalties, because sometimes people who even live in communities do not get the benefits of royalties. Thank you very much for your time. Dr. John Pipi is leader for that alliance. But away from that, Ghana's coastal communities, thousands of children are not in school. They are working instead. Much of this happens in the fishing industry, even though laws ban child labor and trafficking. Experts say this puts young lives at risk and takes away their chance at a better future. Rights groups say families need more support so parents do not feel forced to send their children to work. My colleague Nabil Ahmed Rufai has more in this report.
Joseph Kote lives in Jamestown, a fishing community in Ghana's capital, Accra. The 13-year-old should be at school with his friends, but he says he has to work to feed himself.
It is not easy. I started joining the fishermen to go fishing on the sea when I was 9 years old. When we go fishing, we stay on the sea for about a week before we return to the shore.
In Ghana, official statistics show that more than 1 million children between the ages of 5 and 17 are forced into work, often in hazardous conditions, and 50,000 children work in the fishing industry. That's despite Ghana's laws prohibiting children up to 18 years old from any form of work. But try telling that to old fishermen who only know this way of life.
We allow the children to go fishing because we want them to learn the ropes of the trade at an early age. There are no jobs even when they go to school and graduate. So we train them in fishing so they can get a sustainable job.
That said, not everyone in the fishing industry agrees. Fishmongers here say they are worried that children are being used as cheap labor. They are paid less than $1 a day, 9 cents, which is below Ghana's minimum wage of nearly $2, while older fishermen get about $10 every day.
Fishermen are losing their livelihoods, and the more they lose their livelihoods, the more they find ways of cutting down on costs, and the more they find ways of cutting down the cost, then the more they find ways of using children so that the children help that they don't have to pay them wages or salaries or whatever it is.
This is where teenage children belong. Basic education is free and compulsory in Ghana. The law was introduced by the government specifically to keep children out of work, but enforcement has been lax. In February, Ghana launched the Employers Code of Practice for eliminating child and forced labor and human trafficking in the country's fisheries sector. It aims to raise awareness about the dangers of child labor and push for its total elimination. But children's rights advocates believe more needs to be done to break the cycle. Most of the children working here are likely to face limited future career opportunities. They are also at risk of poorer health conditions and chronic poverty, according to child rights advocates. As Joseph Kote's shoulders carry the burden of child labor, he and many others like him hope one day to trade canoes for the classroom. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, Accra.
A report by Nabil Ahmed Rufai. But away from that, about 1 billion people in 149 countries are living with neglected tropical diseases, yet the issue receives little attention. A new research initiative by the Global Media Foundation and the Team Africa highlights how these preventable illnesses continue to devastate poor communities because governments are not prioritizing them. In this report, experts and affected patients call for urgent action, stronger policies, and life-saving supports.
Neglected tropical diseases affect nearly 1 billion people worldwide, but remain among the least supported public health challenges. The Global Media Foundation, working with Team Africa, is calling for urgent action after new findings revealed the growing impact of these conditions on vulnerable communities.
They are affecting the so-called developed countries. They are not attention there. Now, baby, attention they here who be doing. They are not attention very low. The brass say yenya kasa se o man. Ibiti ayen se na ya physical na ya de abo neglected tropical diseases mo ebra.
Team leader for Team Africa Ghana, Isaac Kobina Kapabie, is urging world leaders, civil society organizations, and governments to prioritize neglected tropical diseases and include treatment in national health insurance systems to reduce the burden on families.
Because people who are affected with this hardly find the treatment support. So if there's a policy for national health insurance, NTDs must be covered as well, so that people affected with NTDs can also access quality health care in Ghana.
Local health officials also want increased investment and closer collaboration among stakeholders to confront the rising threat of these diseases.
All conditions are still available in time, so we will need the collaboration from all stakeholders, not just health. All stakeholders, the District Assembly also should have this in their plan so that they can also combat these diseases.
Advocacy groups insist the fight against neglected tropical diseases must become a global priority in order to save life and protect the vulnerable populations.
And I'm saying, you and my omo going to no. I sabia omo be no I ding. And I'm so quite no need to know. And can buy betimi I chill compounds I betimi a ben womo. Nese ubinya saya arena wetimi ako.
For affected patients, the challenges extend beyond physical pain. Many face social stigma, isolation, and fear because their conditions are widely misunderstood. Their message is clear. The world must act now to protect the poorest from disease that have been ignored for far too long.
You're still watching News Tonight here on GHOne TV. My name is Obed Gaglo. Let's go back to our earlier conversation with my colleague Natalie Fort, who is in Doha for the Doha Forum. Natalie, if you can hear me, tell us the general atmosphere there in Doha.
Yes, Obed, I can hear you clearly. I hope you're hearing me as well.
Yes, I can hear you.
Wonderful. So as you mentioned earlier, yes, it's been a very busy first day of the forum here in Doha, Qatar. We've had world leaders, you name it, and we've had business leaders as well, all gathered in this space to address the key theme, which is justice in action beyond promises to progress. And it began, for the most part, with the Qatari Prime Minister, that's Sheikh Mohammed Al Thani, speaking about the global injustices and the need for accountability by world leaders from the West to all parts of the world, basically, to clearly be very much accountable in how we're dealing with these global issues that we're facing today. Of course, he highlighted the prolonged Russia-Ukraine, as well as Palestine and Israel, and also touched on the need for there to be tangible results by world leaders.
Right.
So that is how it kick-started.
Right.
And
we are
Ghana's
told
President John Dramani Mahama, present as well. He arrived earlier today and was received by the presidential delegation, and some of which were made up of members of the Foreign Affairs Committee within Parliament who met him. He didn't speak today, but he will be speaking on the panel tomorrow, although he did hold some closed-door meetings with the Emir.
Right. Thank you very much, Natalie, for speaking to us from Doha. Let's do some other stories here. As a Member of Parliament for Medina and human rights lawyer Francis Xavier Susu says he's committed to using his new role as chairman of the ECOWAS caucus of the African Parliamentary Union to advance key reforms across the sub-region. Speaking to GHOne TV's Natalie Fort on the sidelines of the Doha Forum in Qatar, Susu outlined his top priorities, including abolishing the death penalty, ending witchcraft-related accusation, and addressing rising youth unemployment.
That all the spaces that are opening are spaces that I can leverage on to push the agenda of human rights advocacy. For example, abolition of death penalty is always top on the list, and I'm just pushing it to ensure that this becomes a legacy for the sub-region and also a legacy for our time. I believe that in everyone's life, you must aim at something, and one of the things I believe that in our own lifetime we can push to achieve is to see how we can do away with this issue of death penalty. Not only with the death penalty, but there are also very serious issues with this witchcraft accusation, and women are always the people who suffer for witchcraft accusation. And it is only not in Ghana, but when you go to, part of Africa is divided into 5: Eastern Africa, Southern Africa, Northern Africa, Central Africa, Western Africa. And if you look at all these parts of Africa, they all have some semblance of issues that borders on this kind of witchcraft accusation. And my goal is to use the platform to also champion for.
Let's do some business stories now.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
In business tonight, in Ghana's thriving palm oil industry, where heavy machinery rules the landscape and women are often expected to stay on the sidelines, one woman is breaking through every barrier. She's not just a truck driver, she's also a trained engineer, a mother, and a fearless advocate for gender equality in a male-dominated field. My colleague Rosemond Akoko-Ajete brings to you the story of Francisca Afiu-Wawe, who is using her voice to fight for women's rights at the workplace. There's more.
In the heart of Ghana's industrial belt, where machines roar, trucks rumble, and the scent of palm kernels hangs thick in the air, there is a woman rewriting the rules of an entire industry. Amid towering silos and burning furnaces, where oil palm feeds more than 80% of products in the supermarket shelves, one driver stands out, not just for her skill, but for her courage. In Kwai, in the eastern region, the sight of a woman behind the wheels of a heavy-duty truck is almost unheard of. But 30-year-old Wawe Francisca Afio moves through the tight factory lanes of the Ghana Oil Plantation Development Company with the ease of a seasoned engineer because she is one.
System no Ghana, headdress is the dorsal, cintress dorsal, beauticians dorsal. So me per se, me create baby a be inspire and more because we know so a dorsal what you say a dorsal to me so me per se me bomb me home than and bema to me yeah maybe I can do it better than the men.
Francisca's journey began in Pong Katamanso, where she hawked seafood between speeding vehicles. Life was tough, but it taught her resilience, a skill that would later shape her future.
Was straight no. Now I'm so very young at the age of 4, class 4, and I'm yes I GHOne sister and I'm doing say GHOne the woo. Until one day meeting us and I'm doing say I have to do something. I was saying GHOne. Now headdress test near Yiswa. Any many so and me test means for me.
Her turning point came unexpectedly through a newspaper advertisement from their Didome 5-Star Engineering Institute calling on young women to train as tractor operators.
Near me say one is a Bruce or not more per 30 that Friday na misaka daily graphic no and I had the deadline. And to me or buy me toss to 31.
But enrolling was just the start. With only a junior high school certificate, Francisca found herself in a class filled with students who already had engineering backgrounds. The pressure was intense, but she pushed through. And by the end of the program, she emerged the best in her class, outperforming even trained engineering students.
University, agriculture engineering, those course crap, funny easy. Francisca na yo BFS or funny back say or attentive say Obed journey because of near church no. But me too me bua se kakra na man fa ma adua and culture no so na me di ma adua co practicals no so a me ka share ready ni monya say after the 1 month training me na head mo bom abaso kase.
In 2021, she secured a job at the GOPDC. Today, as a mother of 2, Francisca says many women quit because of the harsh realities in male-dominated workplaces.
But most of them no omajai complication bia omunya ni say ebi mu in a month no they have period no 2 times and this job no easy. Actually 7 years sir you can say or Becca say or funny is easy. Easy. Sometimes Omudubako location the road is good. Sometimes Omudubako location bia the road is very, very bad. And yet try and kwa na menim tree. Metimetri wheel loader cheaper ye, and excavator so has so some small knowledge of it.
Union interventions, she says, have made a significant difference. The General Agricultural Workers Union, GHOne, has conducted research, training and sensitization programs with support from FNV Mondial, focusing on occupational safety and violence-free workplaces.
And then there are other policies that are friendly, a win-win for both management and then for both for the workers as well. So over here we have certain policies like the whistleblower policy, we have the non-abusive verbal policy, we have policies that equally protect our women when it comes to sexual harassment as well.
Management acknowledges the challenges and says the company is committed to ensuring gender inclusion.
Initially, harvesting was for only men, but when it comes to GOPDC, we have women who are also doing harvesting. They have well been trained to do harvesting. We have even given them motivation. Okay, so women inclusion is very key. When it comes to the community level, we have women who also own palm plantations. So training are given to them to ensure that their yields increase.
Some of the women on the plantation told GHOne News their experience working side by side with the men in demanding roles.
In normal circumstances, obi ane senia na pomu diete. Obi wo ho a ono so okoto no sesa loose na enha no. Ba obi wo ho so okoto no sesa loose na enha no. Nti eno no sa no company ne de nhyehyɛ bi ato wo se nipa ni nyanyinse nko a yemmo omasonte na yemfa ne nko another operation. Adwuma we no both sex obema to me or bounce to me. Fanny say I had dear mostly named Marty Trunewa.
Lose for necessary medium matches and a bear on Bessie Sunny, Uja or Machi, the only Jumani. Not send on Bay Azus, Mesa or May Azus, man, or my Jumani and Penphone bar, sad and on video absence and says, or her almost a solution.
The assembly member for Kwai, Evans Azuma, says GOPDC has created opportunities for youth, especially women across the community.
You are not find any job to do. It is where that you sometimes think of going to do or going to steal or anything of that sort. But when you are engaged in something, I don't think, and it's helping them. Ever since I came, none of them have even come to me that, oh, honorable place, today I'm not getting money to eat. But because of GOPDC, yes, get, some work to do. It's helping them to improve their lives.
Despite the odds, Francisca isn't stopping. She is now championing reforms, calling for fair wages, mentorship and clear policies that support skilled women and ensure they are not overlooked in the industry. She believes a just workplace is possible and she is behind the wheel, driving that change. Reporting for GHOne and Star News, Rosemond Akwoko Ajeti.
An inspiring story there by my colleague Rosemond Akwoko Ajeti. Let's now head to the world of sports.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
And in sports this evening, hundreds of Ghanaians gathered this morning at the premises of GHOne TV and Star FM to participate in the highly anticipated Star Corporate Walk. The event saw participants from staff of the EIB network, including Chief Executive Officer Bolare and General Manager Nana Yasapon, as well as corporate institutions, Keep Fit clubs, clients of the network, celebrities, and members of the public who walked started from 6 a.m. All right, so away from the Star Corporate Walk, Ghana's Black Stars have been pitched against football's oldest national team, England, For the 2026 World Cup celebration tournament, the Black Stars, who were in pot 4 of the draw that was held yesterday in America, will also compete against 2018 finalists Croatia and North American side Panama. The World Cup will begin on the 11th of June next year, taking place on Panama on the 17th of June in the United States of America. Let's do some more sports stories as Ghana concluded its historic campaign at the West African Para Games in Abeokuta, Nigeria, securing a total of 40 medals, including 4 gold, 15 silver, and 21 bronze to finish second overall behind hosts Nigeria. The team Ghana, comprising over 60 para-athletes, competed across 9 disciplines: para-athletes, powerlifting, power table tennis, wheelchair basketball, sitting volleyball, wheelchair tennis, para-arm wrestling, parachuting, and para-badminton. Para-arm wrestling was a standout event for Ghana, with Sahiru Haruna claiming 2 gold medals, while teammate Frank Fuzi and Isaac Ni Aite added bronze medals to the tally. Now, still on the Para Games going on in Abeokuta, Nigeria, team lead for Ghana's contingent at the Games, Mary Apedu, has expressed satisfaction with the level of competition displayed by Ghana's athletes and believes it is a good experience for them.
Well, I think it's been a good one. A lot of exposure for most of our athletes, like sitting volleyball. This is their first time. Other athletes too, this is their very first experience with the tournament. And I think in all, they've done well. We are proud of our achievements and we hope to do even better the next time we meet.
Let's head to the international fronts now. On the international fronts this evening, the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo is once again descending into chaos. Thousands of people are on the move, fleeing the intense fighting. Men, women, and children carrying their belongings are leaving their village in South Kivu, a forced exodus as clashes between the Congolese army and the M23 rebels intensify. The fighting has been escalating since Tuesday, hitting Katuga, Kumanyala, and surrounding areas hard. On Saturday morning, fierce clashes continued around Luvinji in the Ruzizi Plain. Local sources report around 20 civilians killed, innocent victims in this endless war. The surge in the violence comes just days after a gleam of hope on Thursday. And this is where we wrap up this evening's bulletin. Grateful for your time. My name is Obed King Gaglo. For more news, log on to starfm.com.gh. On behalf of the production team led by Rosemond Akoko-Ajay, have a good evening.
We want to thank you for staying connected to us.
Afi.
And to our business customers, we say thank you for the trust and support.
Kapore MTN customer comes